Ladies and gentlemen, listen up. Before you walk out of this room today, there's something you need to understand, something that can completely change the way you approach life, work, and even yourself. It's simple, yet powerful. It's what separates those who rise from those who fall. And that something is this: you can only win when your mind is stronger than your emotions. Now, I know what you're thinking. Emotions are powerful. They rush in at the worst times, clouding your judgment, influencing your actions. It's easy to let them lead. But if you don't take control, if you don't master the battlefield of your mind, those emotions will steer you in directions you don't want to go. They'll make you quit when you should push forward. They'll convince you you're not good enough when deep down you are. They'll turn challenges into overwhelming burdens when, in reality, they're just lessons in disguise. So let's break it down. Your mind isn't just a collection of thoughts, it's a muscle. A powerful tool that needs training if you want to come out on top. Every day, you need to work on it, stretch it, strengthen it, because if you don't, it gets weak, it gets lazy, and when your mind is untrained, even the smallest obstacle will throw you off course. You won't be defeated by life itself, but by the thoughts you allow to control you. Because in the end, it's not the world that takes us down, it's the battle inside of us. We all face challenges. Nobody is exempt from struggle. But life doesn't pause when you're tired. It doesn't stop when you're frustrated or overwhelmed. The world keeps spinning. The clock keeps ticking. The pressure never eases up just because you don't feel ready. And if you don't learn how to manage your thoughts, if you don't take control of your mindset, you'll be consumed by everything trying to bring you down. Think about it. We've all had moments when we wanted to quit, when our emotions screamed at us to give up, to walk away. But that's exactly when your mind needs to step up. When fear, doubt, and frustration come rushing in, that's the moment when your mind has to say, "Not today." Look at the greats, athletes, business moguls, world leaders. They've all felt fear, doubt, and pressure just like you. But the difference? They didn't let those emotions dictate their actions. They made the decision to push through. Imagine a soldier on the battlefield. You think they don't feel fear? Of course they do, but in that moment, they don't act on it. Why? Because they've trained their minds to focus under pressure. They don't let fear control them, they rise above it. That's the mindset you need to adopt. Your mind is your greatest weapon. But if you don't sharpen it, if you let emotions like fear, anger, or frustration take over, you're allowing those emotions to become distractions, pulling you off course. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying emotions don't matter. They do, but they're temporary. They don't define you. They're like passing storms, intense but fleeting. Your mind, though, that's your anchor. That's what will keep you grounded when everything else tries to shake you. Take Michael Jordan. He wasn't immune to pressure. He wasn't immune to fear. But when the game was on the line, when the crowd was screaming, and the odds were stacked against him, he didn't crumble. He didn't let emotions take over. He stayed locked in. He controlled his mind. And you don't have to be an athlete to understand this. In business, in relationships, in education, the people who succeed are the ones who learn how to rise above the emotions of the moment. They understand that emotions are fleeting. But mental discipline? That's what carries you through. So remember this. Success isn't about avoiding challenges. It's about staying grounded when everything is pulling you in different directions. It's about refusing to let frustration or fear make your decisions for you. You control that. When life throws punches, when people doubt you, when obstacles stand in your way, you've got to stand firm. Because when your mind is stronger than your emotions, nothing can stop you. But let's go deeper. Emotions don't just appear out of nowhere. They're triggered. A word, an action, an unexpected setback. Something sets them off. And if you're not aware of what triggers you, you'll keep falling into the same emotional traps over and over. Think about it. You're having a good day. Then suddenly, someone makes a comment, or a situation catches you off guard. Instantly, frustration or anger takes over. And before you know it, you're reacting, snapping at someone, shutting down, or questioning yourself. That's emotion taking the wheel. You didn't plan it, you didn't want it, but because you weren't paying attention, it took control. But what if you could see it coming? What if you could recognize those triggers before they turned into full-blown reactions? That's where awareness comes in. When you understand that emotions don't define you, that they're just signals, you take the first step toward mastering them. Take Serena Williams. She's faced pressure like no other. She's been down, doubted, pushed to her limits. But does she let frustration take over? Does she let fear control her? No. She acknowledges it, then redirects it. She stays focused. She lets her mind lead. She feels the same emotions we all do. But what makes her different is that she doesn't let them dictate her next move. And that's what you need to learn. Think about your own life. Have you ever been so angry or frustrated that you couldn't think straight? Maybe someone took credit for your idea at work. Maybe someone cut you off in traffic. You felt that instant surge of emotion. And suddenly, you were reacting, saying or doing something you later regretted. That's your trigger. But what if, in that moment, you could stop, take a breath, and choose how to respond? What if you could recognize that emotion before it takes over? That's the difference between living reactively and living consciously. I won't lie to you, it's not easy. Emotions hit fast, they hit hard, but you are not your emotions. They're just responses to the world around you. And when you separate yourself from them, when you learn to pause, to think, to choose, you put yourself in control. Because life will test you. The world is full of triggers. But when you recognize them for what they are, you're no longer caught off guard. So start today. Pay attention to the little things. When frustration starts creeping in, when your heart starts racing, pause. Ask yourself, why'd I feel this way? Is this really worth my energy? And in that moment of awareness, you take your power back. The more you practice this, the stronger you'll become. You'll build mental resilience. You'll stop reacting to life and start responding with intention. Just like Serena, just like Jordan, just like every great leader who has ever achieved something extraordinary. Because mental toughness isn't built overnight. It's built through discipline, through consistency, through choosing, day after day, to push past the emotions and stay locked in on the goal. And when you do that, when you refuse to let emotions dictate your life, you become unstoppable. So remember, the real battle isn't out there, it's in your mind. And when you win that battle, you win at life. Building mental toughness is a journey, a daily commitment. It's not just a trait, it's a mindset. Every time you push through adversity, every time you confront a challenge and refuse to quit, you strengthen your mental resilience. Just like a muscle, your mind grows stronger with every obstacle you overcome. What once seemed impossible becomes attainable because you've conditioned yourself to rise above difficulties. So, ask yourself, how much do you really want it? How far are you willing to go? Are you prepared to break through your limits? To meet adversity with unwavering determination? If the answer is yes, then you're already on the path to unshakable mental toughness. You don't need perfection, you just need persistence. Keep moving forward, keep pushing, keep building that inner strength. Because when your mind is fortified, nothing and no one can hold you back. Let me be clear, if you allow emotions to take control, you will lose. It's that simple. You might think you're making choices, but in reality, your emotions are pulling the strings. When emotions lead, decisions are made on impulse, not logic, not reason, and impulse is a reckless guide. It might offer momentary satisfaction, but the consequences are lasting. Think about it. How many times have you spoken words in anger that you later regretted? How often has fear stopped you from chasing something you truly wanted? That's the cost of letting emotions dictate your actions. I've seen it time and again, people driven by frustration, doubt, or fear, only to regret their choices later. They damage relationships, miss opportunities, and sabotage their own success, not because they lacked good intentions, but because they reacted without thinking. We've all felt that surge of emotion, the anger when someone wrongs us, the disappointment when things don't go as expected. But reacting in those moments without thinking leads to mistakes. It clouds judgment. It blinds you to the bigger picture. When you let emotions take the wheel, you're not in control. You're letting a temporary feeling shape your long-term reality. How many times have emotions pushed you to make a rash decision? To walk away from something you later wished you had fought for? To let self-doubt talk you out of taking a chance? That's the danger of living by emotion instead of by discipline. Emotions pass, but the damage they leave behind can last a lifetime. Now, Imagine if you trained yourself to pause before reacting. What if, instead of letting frustration or fear dictate your actions, you took a breath, stepped back, and allowed your mind to take control? That's the difference between success and failure. That's the difference between building the life you want and watching it slip through your fingers. In every aspect of life, business, relationships, personal growth, emotions are powerful but fleeting. If you let them lead, you surrender your ability to think clearly, to make sound decisions, to stay aligned with your long-term goals. Because let's be real, emotion-driven decisions rarely lead you where you truly want to go. They might feel right in the moment, but when the dust settles, you're left with consequences you never intended. It's like stepping into a storm without an umbrella. You might make it through, but you'll be battered, bruised, and worse for wear. That's what happens when impulse rules. To avoid this, you must train your mind. When emotions flare up, learn to step back, breathe, and analyze before acting. The power to stay calm, to think, to choose wisely. That's where true strength lies. When everything is on the line, when the pressure is mounting, and it feels like the walls are closing in, what do? You stay calm. I know that's easier said than done. When the pressure is high, every instinct tells you to panic. But panic never wins. You win by trusting your mind, by staying grounded, by remembering that you have the strength to handle whatever comes your way. Pressure is not your enemy, it's your teacher. It reveals your true strength. It forces you to decide whether you'll crumble or rise. And let me tell you something, you are stronger than you think. But you have to be willing to tap into that strength, to control your emotions instead of letting them control you. Look at the world's most elite forces, like the Navy SEALs. What separates them isn't just physical strength, it's mental toughness. They've trained themselves to stay calm, focused, and strategic even in life or death situations. They don't let fear take over. They don't let panic cloud their judgment. They trust their training, their discipline, their ability to think clearly under pressure. That's what mental resilience looks like. And you can develop that same resilience. You don't have to be born with it, you build it. Through experience, through practice, through pushing past discomfort. When pressure mounts, you have two choices. You can let it break you, or you can use it to fuel your determination. But that decision must be made before the pressure hits. If you wait until you're in the heat of the moment to figure it out, you're already too late. Train your mind to be steady before the storm arrives. Strengthen your ability to stay calm, to think logically, to make decisions with purpose. Because when chaos comes, and it will, you'll already know how to handle it. That's when growth happens. That's when you separate yourself from the rest. Anyone can stay composed when life is easy. But true strength is revealed when everything is falling apart. That's when you prove what you're made of. So think about your own life. When things got tough, how did you respond? Did you stay calm, or did you let the moment dictate your actions? Did you allow fear to paralyze you, or did you push forward? The ability to stay composed under pressure is inside of you, but you must be willing to develop it. Every time you control your emotions, every time you rise to the occasion instead of shrinking in fear, you become stronger, more resilient, more capable of facing whatever life throws your way. Life is unpredictable. It will test you, it will challenge you, but you have a choice. You can let those moments shake you, or you can use them to prove to yourself that you have what it takes. The power to stay calm, to think clearly, to take control. That's what sets successful people apart. That's what will allow you to move forward when everyone else is stuck in fear. The next time you feel overwhelmed, the next time emotions try to take over, step back, breathe, think, and remind yourself that you are in control. Because when you master your mind, when you refuse to let emotions rule your decisions, there is nothing that can stop you. Success is not just possible, it's inevitable. So take control, let your mind lead, and watch how unstoppable you become.